Welcome back to Gold Derby for a prediction slugfest for what we think will win the Golden Globes for 2023. I'm Marcus James Dixon. I'm here with Ray Richmond, Denton Davidson, Daniel Montgomery, and we are going to mix things up by starting with the limited series races. I feel like we always end with those. So this year, the limited races were really, really good. So let's go ahead and start with limited series slash TV movie, but there's no TV movies, so we're just going to pretend that doesn't exist, like the Globes. So, Ray, why don't we start with you? What do you think will win the series? We have the nominees being White Lotus, Sicily, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, Blackbird, Pam and Tommy, and The Dropout.
I went back and forth on this a little bit, Marcus, but and considered Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer one. But ultimately, I settled on White Lotus, Sicily. It just came off of winning 10 Emmys. I mean, it was a huge juggernaut. It's hard to see the Hollywood Foreign Press going against that. It's got momentum, and it's kind of a phenomenon. It's as close to a water cooler show that we have these days. Considering there's no water cooler and nobody at the office. But I feel like it's, there's a lot in this category that was great this year. My next pick would have been Dahmer, Blackbird. You could make a case for any of them: Blackbird, Dropout, Pam and Tommy. They're all good, but I feel like White Lotus is the one that they're going to go with.
Denton, what about you?
I have White Lotus, Sicily. It's the newest and it's the hottest. I had Monster for a while, but it's dark and depressing. And I think Evan Peters, who we'll talk about, is going to win. So I think White Lotus, Sicily, everyone will be happy if that one wins. So I'm going with that one.
Yeah, it's so popular, especially now as they were voting. Daniel?
Yeah, I agree. It's White Lotus Sicily. It's the coolest show. It's the one that everyone was talking about. It's the first season. It's coming off of 10 Emmy wins. So you got that bandwagon factor that often happens at the Globes for TV, especially with movies and limited series. They often climb on board whatever swept the Emmys. So that's what I've got here, I think. I think I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, and the Globes also kind of owe it because it snubbed season 1 of The White Lotus for this category. It didn't even nominate it. It only got one nomination for Jennifer Coolidge last year, who lost. So I think they're going to play catch up. Watch out for they love Ryan Murphy, though. I mean, part of me thinks we're sleeping on Dahmer here, but Ryan Murphy will get the Carol Burnett Award. Is that correct? So
yeah.
He will be up on that.
He's already getting honored.
Yeah, whether he wins or loses. Denton, you kind of mentioned actor, so why don't you start with who you think will win limited series actor?
I just can't imagine Evan Peters losing this. I think Sebastian Stan, Pam and Tommy is great, and then Andrew Garfield, Colin Firth, the Staircase. They're all they feel like so long ago. It's just the Globes tend to be, they like to be the first to award something. So they'll get to Evan Peters before anyone else gets a chance to. And Taryn, not as big of a moment. So I can't imagine Evan Peters losing this.
And Ray?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Denton. Evan Peters is the pick. If among other reasons, the fact that he deserves it, he was so good. And this could have gone so wrong in so many ways and been parody. And it wasn't. It was dramatic and incredibly nuanced and well done as a performance. And Taron Egerton, he's already been honored for Rocket Man. I feel like the Hollywood Foreign Press is going to think, well, we've already given him his lifetime due with that. Although you can never disqualify people from the UK, Colin Firth and Taron. But I agree with Denton. Evan Peters, this is his race to lose, and he's not going to lose it.
And Daniel, are you following the herd here?
Yeah, I'm with the herd. I think there was some controversy around Monster that could have hurt it, but if it was going to hurt it, it wouldn't have gotten the nominations for limited series and actor and supporting actress. Um, uh, so just it feels like it's going that way. Um, and it feels like that was the biggest pop culture moment out of all of these. You've got a movie star in there with Colin Firth and also Andrew Garfield, the biggest movie stars in the category, but they didn't nominate their shows for limited series, so there doesn't seem to be a lot of support there. So I think Evan Peters has this.
And remember, he won the Emmy for Mayor of Easttown, but he did not even get nominated at the Globes, which was one of those really weird snubs. So once again, just like I said with White Lotus, I think they owe it's an IOU that they owe for Evan Peters that is going to get paid off. Okay, actress. The odds have Amanda Seyfried winning. She just won the Emmy for The Dropout. Does anyone disagree with that? It seems kind of like I don't want to say a boring category, but I don't think anyone really has overtaken her since The Dropout aired to be the new front runner. I guess Jessica Chastain is the newest of these. Right?
If George and Tammy had done better overall, I would say watch out for Jessica Chastain. But just because she's the only one nominated from the show, it just feels like they're just gonna sort of stamp Amanda and keep it moving.
Yeah, and the fact that they nominated Dropout for limited series and didn't nominate George and Tammy, I think is what hurts Jessica Chastain especially, and Lily James I'd say has a ghost of a chance, but I don't know. I feel like Amanda winning the Emmy, it just sort of feels like that's just going to be the winner of this category going forward.
There's some big names here, Jessica and Julia Roberts, but these were not the projects that are going to carry them to a win. And in fact, maybe even a mild surprise that Julia Roberts even got nominated. But yeah, this is Amanda's race. She's already won the Emmy. That's not always a foolproof way of predicting a Globe, as we know, but she's so good. That was such a great project too. I don't see her losing either.
And Amanda, I mean, she could go on to win this Globe as well as the SAG Award and the Critics' Choice Award. She could just clean up for this. So I guess we'll see if that happens. And now this year, there are specific supporting categories just for the limited series. So we're going to talk about those before we move on to comedy and drama. So let's start with supporting actor. Denton, you said you made a switch today, right, in this category?
For limited?
Yeah, limited series supporting actor.
I did make a switch today, and I don't know if I'm keeping it, but so I have Donald Gleason, and here's my reasoning, because I had Richard Jenkins for a long time, and I think that he could still win, but I just wasn't sure about like what sort of momentum Monster would have. And Donald is the son of a star, and we know the Hollywood Foreign Press likes that. So him and his dad, Brendan Gleeson, could both win Golden Globes this year. That would be a moment. And people liked The Patient, and he plays. I mean, he's basically a lead in this series. So I don't know. They always do one totally wacky thing. So this is where I'm going, just because I thought he might be more exciting than Richard Jenkins. But I love Richard Jenkins, and I had him winning for a long time, but I don't know. Let's see.
I love how you're predicting Evan Peters and Donald Gleason, the two serial killers. Is there something we need to know about you?
Well, they make good TV.
Daniel, what about you for supporting actor?
I'm going F. Murray Abraham, which is my level of confidence about that. I think, just sort of riding the coattails of White Lotus Sicily. I'm not confident though. Like, this could go anywhere really. Like any of these five could win. If The Patient had been nominated for series, I would be 100% picking Donald Gleason. But the fact that it's only him, Steve Carell didn't get in for actor. I felt like there was room there for him. So I'm not confident. Like this is a five-way race as far as I'm concerned. I don't know which way the Globes are going to go.
Well, that's no help. Ray, can you help us out?
I'm a little bit more confident in my F. Murray Abraham choice. Okay. For one thing, he seems foreign, even though he's not. And I think that's going to help him, even though he was actually born, I think, in Pittsburgh, and was raised in El Paso. This is his first Globe nomination since he won for Amadeus 38 years ago. So it's got that kind of nostalgic quality to it. We're able to honor a guy who's been out of the limelight for a long time. And it's got the White Lotus bandwagon going too. I think White Lotus is probably going to win several. And this gives it another shot for an acting award. But yes, that said, I'll completely undo everything I just said and say it's a five-way race.
I mentioned that Donald Gleason plays a serial killer, but so does Paul Walter Hauser, who I just watched Blackbird, so I have recency bias. He's very, very good in this project, but the fact that Blackbird wasn't nominated, it was. Blackbird was nominated for series and for actor, so I take that back. I'm gonna probably put Paul in my 1 or 2 spots. Richard Jenkins is going to be my other 1 or 2 spots. I don't know who I'm going to go with at this point. I mean, Richard Jenkins plays the heart of the monster compared to some of these other serial killers in this category. And Seth Rogen plays a burglar. I mean, so Richard Jenkins plays really the only person that you would maybe want to give a hug to. Maybe F. Murray Abraham, but he's kind of handsy. His character.
Yeah, he'll grope you with that hug.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna ultimately go with Richard Jenkins. I think Monster will win something, in addition to Evan Peters. And I mean, we can talk about Niecy Nash right now if we want to switch categories. Does anyone have Niecy Nash bets?
I had her until I saw the White Lotus finale. Because as I watched White Lotus, I'm like, Jennifer Coolidge isn't going to win anything for this season. But she's so great in the last episode that I was just, or a couple episodes, second half of the season. So I had Niecy, and then once I watched the entire White Lotus, I moved Jennifer Coolidge to number 1.
So you worried at all about a vote split with Aubrey Plaza?
Possibly. I mean, Niecy could definitely win. Claire Danes could win. I mean, we don't know what the Hollywood Foreign Press is doing half the time. They do weird things like that. And Claire Danes has been recognized now twice for this Fleischman is in Trouble. And I still haven't seen it, but I heard she's amazing in it, and she clearly is getting recognized for this show. And they love her. For My So-Called Life. And so
people in our forums love Fleischman is in Trouble. So I think we need to watch it. What about you, Ray?
Yeah, Claire Danes they do love her, as Denton said. She's been nominated 5 times for the Globes and won 4 of them. I mean, so when she gets nominated, she generally wins. Although it's been a while since she last won, which was for Homeland, I think 10 years ago. That said, I think Jennifer Coolidge is going to win.
That was 10 years ago? Oh my
God. 10 years ago. I know, it's crazy. But I think Jennifer's going to win. She was so good on White Lotus, and her flashy, crazy, hilarious acceptance speech at the Oscars, at the Emmys, excuse me, isn't going to hurt her. She got a lot of props for that, for dancing to the playoff music and everything. It was pretty funny. But she's great. I don't think it's going to, for the fact that Aubrey is also nominated, is going to necessarily work against her. I feel like it's her race to lose this time. Although number 2 would be Niecy. I think Niecy's got a shot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Jennifer Coolidge is having a moment, and right now she's my pick to host SNL. So NBC, get on it. Daniel, have you given your thoughts yet on this race?
No, and I don't have any really new ones. I think Jennifer Coolidge is winning this. I think White Lotus is gonna sweep, and Coolidge has that bandwagon factor where she just won the Emmy. I feel like they're gonna make it up to her at the Golden Globes, so they're gonna want to see her speech. And yeah, I've got Coolidge.
All right, so let's move on to drama. We have Severance, House of the Dragon, The Crown, Better Call Saul, and Ozark. There's a lot of different options here. They've done The Crown multiple times in the past. Better Call Saul is kind of like always the bridesmaid. It never wins anything. Ray, I think in the past you've said that you're picking Better Call Saul, or am I remembering something else?
I keep going back and forth, Marcus. I feel like Better Call Saul is just it's been kind of the ultimate bridesmaid. It's been nominated for Globes in the category, I think 6 times. It got nominated for 40. This must be a record. It's been nominated for 46 Emmys and won none. And that seems almost impossible.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Crown has been the darling a lot in the past. It's a UK show, and all other things being equal, my theory is generally it gets the Globe because foreign press. So that said, I feel like Severance is the one that deserves it. It's a great show. It's creative, incredibly interestingly done and complex show that deserves recognition here. But right now, I still feel I'm going back and forth. I'm fumbling with my words because I feel like I'm not sure. Right now, I'm going with The Crown.
Okay. And Daniel, what do you have at 1 and why?
I've got Severance. I think it's the cool new show. The shiny new object, which the Golden Globes tend to like, and they love The Crown. But they just did that like a year or two ago, so I feel like there's no urgency to go back there, especially when they've got like the cool option and they nominated it several times. So I feel like there's a strong amount of like there. But I think it's a two-way race between that and The Crown.
Denton, what about you?
I have Severance, and I agree with everything that's been said. I have The Crown in second and House of Dragon in third. I just don't see how Better Call Saul and Ozark would win at this point. But yeah, Severance is the cool hip new show.
Yeah. My favorite of these is House of the Dragon, but my favorite rarely wins. So I think I'm okay if something like Severance wins or Better Call Saul. The Americans won for its final season and no one predicted it. I think it was in 5th place in our odds. So, don't count out Better Call Saul just because it's never won yet. So a lot of us have Severance winning. Do we all have Adam Scott winning as well for drama actor, Denton?
Yeah, I think they'll match that category up. So I have Severance with Adam Scott winning. I think Diego Luna is underestimated. I think he is one of those hot young actors that they like to reward from a show that a lot of it's not going to get maybe a lot of Emmy love for something like that. But I would watch out for Diego Luna, but I have Adam Scott out front and then Bob Odenkirk. But he's never won. I'm not going to just think he's going to start winning now. So I'm not predicting Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Adam Scott and Severance both kind of pairing up. Daniel, what about you?
I've got Odenkirk. And I'm not a Better Call Saul fanboy. I didn't keep up with it all the way to the end. But this is the first time they nominated the show for Best Drama. And I feel like that's they did that, and they're gonna do the Odenkirk winning for Best Actor. Reminds me of Amy Poehler. They finally gave Parks and Recreation a comedy series nomination, and then she won the Golden Globe for actress. So I feel like that's sort of their alibi, where if you see a show that doesn't usually get that series nomination, I think that actor might be their time. But
Okay.
I agree, it's between Odenkirk and Scott. They're the only two in that category who have corresponding series nominations. So I think it's one of those.
And Ray?
Well, it's 2 against 2. I'm with Daniel on this. I'm thinking it's Odenkirk. I think the Globe voters are probably, they've nominated Odenkirk. This is his 5th time. But I feel like they're a little embarrassed that they haven't honored Better Call Saul. And they're not going to do it for series, but I think they might, as Marcus pointed out, do it for actor. That they have to honor this show somehow, just like they would have had to honor Breaking Bad somehow, or else it looks bad for the organization to ignore a show this good. So I feel like this is Odenkirk's. Could be Adam Scott, but I think Adam Scott wins next year.
Right, and he does have it next year, whereas Bob Odenkirk does not.
Exactly, this is his last shot.
And the two veterans, Kevin Costner and Jeff Bridges, I would not be surprised if either of them won. I mean, these guys are bona fide movie stars, and we know that the Globe
they love their stars.
So this is a very tough race. Drama actress, I feel like a little easier here. Zendaya is, the TV's it girl still after 2 years. This is her first Globe nomination. She's already won 2 Emmys for Euphoria. I have her at 1. In second place, I have Emma Darcy, House of the Dragon. Again, that may just be me personally loving House of the Dragon so much, but I think it's just Zendaya's to lose. Does anyone agree? Ray, you're nodding.
I agree that Zendaya is going to win, but it's probably a tougher category than we're acknowledging, because you know how those Globe voters love their stars, and we've got all this Oscar stuff going on outside of Zendaya. We've got Hilary Swank, we've got Laura Linney, Imelda Staunton. These are all people with an Oscar pedigree. So this is, you probably can't count out any of these people. Yes, Zendaya is just coming off an Emmy win, and she is the it girl, and she's the cool choice. It's hard to see her losing.
Daniel.
I've got Emma Darcy.
Okay, I like this. Tell me more.
I think they nominated House of the Dragon, so they're into that show, and Emma Darcy is the shiny new object in this category. With Zendaya, I feel like if they could have easily nominated Euphoria for drama series.
Yeah.
This might be one of those shows that they're just not that into. And they could give it to Zendaya anyway, because she's, such a hot, star, and Globes love that. But I'm just, I look at how little they seem to like Euphoria beyond her. It might just be one of those things they're not that into. But the only one I think I could count out in this category is no offense, Hilary Swank. They didn't nominate it anywhere else. It's not a show with a lot of great buzz. So yeah, I think the nomination is her reward. The other 4 though can win.
And Denton.
I have Imelda Staunton winning.
Okay.
And I have Emma Darcy second. I agree with Daniel. I feel like they could have already given Zendaya an award. So it feels late now. So I don't know if it's coming for her. And it's the only win I have for the crown. I just feel like they want to give it something. So that's where I'm putting it. Although this is a category I don't have any confidence in at all.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine. I don't know if I have The Crown winning anything, which I need to rethink because they just love that show so much. Well, if we're done talking about drama, we can switch over to comedy. We've got Abbott Elementary, which is the far off front runner at Gold Derby. And the other nominees are Wednesday, The Bear, Only Murders in the Building, and Hacks. Last year's winner was Hacks in a huge surprise, but it was not televised, so I don't know how many people actually know that. Does anyone think Hacks can repeat, or is this just an Abbott gallop to the finish line?
I feel like I don't see how Abbott's going to lose.
Yeah.
You know, it's a cool new show. Even though it didn't win the Emmy it won a writing Emmy. It didn't win the Emmy for comedy series. But the only other show that's, well, actually, I guess The Bear and Wednesday are both considered cool, shiny new objects.
Yeah.
And Wednesday, I think, is the only show that has a shot at upsetting Abbott. But I think they're going to give that's more of a Jenna Ortega thing than a Wednesday thing. The Bear, I just don't get it. Can someone enlighten me as to what is funny about The Bear? This is a comedy or musical category. They don't sing songs, so it must be about the comedy. I don't get it. It's incredibly intense. It's dramatic. It's interesting. It's beautifully performed and directed and written, but it is not funny. Why is it in the comedy category? Please enlighten me, any of you guys.
It's like Barry, how Barry's not nominated this year, but it's a very dark comedy.
So dark, I can't see the comedy in this case.
Daniel, what about you?
First of all, I agree that The Bear is really more of a drama. I feel like we need to normalize half-hour dramas, and like the fact that it's a half-hour show is why it's in comedy. And there are like quips here and there, but yeah, I think Abbott Elementary is winning this. I think it's pretty safe. I feel pretty confident across the comedy categories, so you know, I don't have too much to say about Abbott Elementary.
And Denton.
Yeah, I feel like it's Abbott Elementary. I think this is one category where, like, if the Globes are trying to be cool, if they don't go with Abbott Elementary, that would be one place where they displayed something very uncool. It would be very uncool to go with the herd, as opposed to many times it's very cool to go against the herd. But I think this is one exception where I feel like if they don't reward Abbott Elementary, it's just going to look like a mistake.
Let's move over to comedy actor. I feel like we all probably have Jeremy Allen White, and we probably don't need to talk about it very much.
I don't.
Oh, well, let's talk about it then.
I don't, because he's not funny. Again, this is supposed to be a comedy category. He's a great actor. He's terrific in this. He was terrific in Shameless. I think, I guess it would be an upset. I see Steve Martin in an upset here. I think it's his time. This is his first Globe nomination in 41 years. So this is a way to, nice nostalgia win if he gets it. I feel like he deserves it. He's terrific on that show. It's easier for me to see the show without Martin Short than without Steve Martin, even though Only Murders in the Building is a little too precious. It isn't really considered cool anymore. Yeah, after its second year.
It's so old now.
Well, exactly. It's a little long in the tooth after 2 years. But yeah, no, I feel like this is Steve Martin's. And again, if we take the category literally, if we just say half hour must be comedy, let's give it to Jeremy Allen White. But I feel like this is Steve Martin's year.
I just don't know how literally the Globes take their own categories. I think maybe you are not overlooking, but looking too deep into the category name. And
it's entirely possible.
But I mean, Steve Martin, I wanted him to win the Emmy so bad for season 1 of that show. Daniel, what about you? What do you think?
If the Globes had cared in the past about comedies being funny, they wouldn't have given Best Actress in a comedy to Michelle Williams for My Week with Marilyn. They wouldn't have given Best Comedy Picture to The Martian, and Transparent won as a comedy, even though that was really more dramatic also. So yeah, I've got Jeremy Allen White here. I think he's sort of emblematic of what the Globes often do at these awards with new shows.
And Denton.
Same. I have Jeremy Allen White. I would argue Bill Hader and Donald Glover are that much funnier for their roles either. I mean, all these shows are towing the line between drama and comedy. So I think they're all that way. Steve Martin and Martin Short, bullseye comedy. But I think you could make arguments that all of the other three are sort of in short dramas that have a couple laughs.
Comedy actress. This is the category I made a switch to a couple days ago. I switched to Jenna Ortega because Wednesday has just exploded, and it is 100% because of her, and especially that dance that she did in episode 4. But I mean, I do think Quinta Brunson can still win this. I do think Jean Smart could still win this, but I'm gonna go with Jenna Ortega. Denton, why don't you start us out?
I have Quinta still. I could totally see Jenna winning because we're gonna see Quinta up there for best comedy series. So, this is something that I might shift. I was a huge supporter of Jenna from the beginning. I predicted her to get nominated, and she did. And I definitely think it's between those two. I don't think anyone other than Quinta or Jenna can possibly win this category. But I have Quinta, but you're making me think I might switch to Jenna.
My thinking, the reason I switched is because I had Abbott Elementary winning series, actress, and supporting actress, and I'm like, 3 is a lot, so I now I only have it winning 2. Daniel, what about you?
I agree. It's between those two. I've got Quinta. I'm very tempted to switch to Jenna because if they weren't thinking of like really highly of her, I don't see Wednesday getting into comedy series. I think comedy series for Wednesday was a vote of confidence in Jenna Ortega. And that could be, the thing that signals that they're going to give it to Jenna Ortega and let Quinta's win be the comedy series win for Abbott Elementary. So I'm very close to switching. Right now I've got Quinta, like the minute before the Globes voting or the prediction center closes, I might switch to Jenna Ortega. But right now I've got Quinta.
And Ray, who do you have?
Yes, I hate to go with the flow of the crowd, but I have Quinta, and I'm considering switching too. This is it. Now, because it's true that Quinta, is the creator and showrunner of the show, is already being honored with the Abbott Elementary win for musical comedy, and I think in terms of supporting, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of agreement about Cheryl Lee Ralph in an upcoming category that we will discuss. So I feel like Quinta might be a little overkill giving her this one as well. Doesn't mean that she won't win, but Jenna Ortega is absolutely the shiny new object and deserves it, and has made this show what it is, and has put it on the map almost single-handedly.
And I hate that Jean Smart won a Globe last year. It was her first career Globe, and she didn't get to give a speech because of everything that was going on. Maybe we're overlooking, the favorite here. Maybe it will be Jean Smart.
Yeah, she certainly won the Emmy 2 years running, right? So
yeah, she did.
It's possible, but yeah.
So we have 2 remaining categories. These are supporting actor and actress for comedy/drama. They combine comedy drama. It's a brand new pair of categories here, and we kind of already touched on Cheryl Lee Ralph. She won the Emmy. She gave the best Emmy speech possibly of the decade, if not of all time. And I think the Globes now want their own Cheryl Lee Ralph Emmy speech. Golden Globe speech. That's why I have her winning. And I really don't know who would even be second place. It's kind of one of those categories where you have such a front runner that the other 4 are just like, what are their names again? Does anyone disagree with me at all?
No,
I've got Elizabeth Debicki.
Oh,
winning?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us why.
Cheryl Lee Ralph, deserving Emmy winner. That was a surprise Emmy win. I feel like the nomination here was a bandwagon choice. I don't think she would have gotten nominated here if she hadn't won the Emmy. This
Okay.
nomination is for her acceptance speech, and I'm not sure that's going to be quite enough, especially with Janelle James, who is like that considered the scene stealer. I think she's going to steal votes here, even though it didn't happen at the Emmys. Um, and I think that's going to be a problem for both of them potentially. I think Janelle could win instead. And Elizabeth Debicki, they love The Crown. They love actors playing Princess Diana. And I don't have The Crown winning anywhere else, so I think I've got her taking this.
Denton?
I have Elizabeth Debicki too.
Whoa. Look at me.
So much for unanimity.
I just don't. I mean, I'm not sure about Abbott Elementary with these multiple nominees. Although I know we just saw it at the Emmys and it worked out fine for Cheryl. But I mean, Julia Garner could win. She won the Emmy and she's amazing. We don't know who's going to win this category. This could go. I mean, we're all like, I have the Emmy winner in last place. How ridiculous is that?
Ray, we know who's winning this, right?
Yes, Cheryl Lee Ralph is winning. Although before the Emmys, I would have given the scene stealer Janelle James the nod, and I was surprised that she did not win the Emmy. She might take some votes away, but I feel like there's a little bit of a bandwagon going on, and I feel like she's going to take it. I don't know how much. I mean, how many depictions of Princess Diana can we have and can we honor? It seems
they've honored a bunch for Queen Elizabeth II, so why not?
It's true. Yeah, and again, my own rule, it is the Hollywood Foreign Press, and although Elizabeth Debicki is French, I believe, and not from the UK, but it is a UK character. I think it's Cheryl Lee Ralph, though. I think it's if you can carry an acceptance speech to a win, this is the opportunity for that to happen.
Mm. And she's
They
also.
could go. I mean, they could go with Janelle James and do the reverse of Emmys.
I don't think Janelle James has a big enough name to win a Globe. I think Cheryl Lee Ralph is an icon in this industry, and I think it's time that she finally has a Globe, on her mantle.
What this reminds me a little of is I remember more than a decade ago when Jessica Lange won the Emmy for Grey Gardens, and then Drew Barrymore won everything else. So potentially, it could be the same thing where you have the veteran actor get the Emmy, and then the sort of younger upstart or co-star get everything else.
Well, the final category, supporting actor in a comedy/drama. I think this one is a little, tough to predict. I could see this going a number of ways. Right now, I have John Turturro winning for Severance, which means I have Severance winning 3 with Adam Scott and series. But I could see Tyler James Williams. I could see Henry Winkler. It's been 45 years since Henry Winkler has won a Globe. John Lithgow, they love him. They love Jonathan Pryce. They love The Crown. So I don't know what to do. Ray, what are you doing here?
I'm thinking John Turturro, because he was so good on Severance. But it's such a crazy, diverse category. Oh my God. Like you said, Henry Winkler hasn't won since he won for Happy Days in 77. Jonathan Pryce could take it. You can never count out any nominee for The Crown at the Golden Globes. And John Lithgow is a huge name, and has already won a couple Globes himself. So I'm picking John Turturro on merit, but I am not at all confident.
Are either of you guys confident?
Oh, because they've all they've all lost Emmys, so it's like
losers.
It's like it's a collection of losers that are now someone's going to come out on top finally. I mean, to be fair, John Lithgow wasn't nominated, and but like I have John Turturro, but I'm starting to wonder if I don't have Cheryl Lee Ralph and I don't have Quinta, maybe Tyler James Williams can rise to the top in this category. But I mean, I would love to see John Turturro win, but I don't know if like then that's giving Severance 3 wins.
Yeah. I'm worried about that.
And I'm a little worried about that as well. But I don't know where I'm gonna pull one of those wins away from. So.
And how could they love Severance that much and not give Patricia Arquette a nomination? Like,
yeah,
that's very weird.
Good point.
Daniel, what do you think?
Well, I mean, your problems would be solved if you made the correct decision and switched to Bob Odenkirk for Best Actor. Then John Turturro makes more sense as the pair up award for Severance, which is what I have. I have John Turturro winning this. It's reminiscent a little bit of Mr. Robot, where it won Best Series and Christian Slater won Supporting Actor, and a lot of people thought Rami Malek was going to win Best Actor, and he didn't. So this could be the same situation where you have the show pair up the awards in the supporting category instead.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye? We did a lot of categories today.
Yeah, TV is tough.
It will be interesting to see who actually shows up to these
Oh,
Golden
yeah.
Globes and if the star support justifies having it be on TV. It would be awful to see accepting the award for constantly at this thing.
Mhm. I have a theory that that's why they added these new TV categories, because they're assuming that they won't have as many people on stage. So if they hand out more trophies, then it'll kill the time. But yeah, okay, go make your predictions at Gold Derby for Gold Derby. For the Golden Globes film and the Golden Globes TV. The winners will be Tuesday, January 10th on NBC. Thank you for watching.